how are you? I have some information on the race goals you should keep in mind.
It's out with the old and in with the new here at Albert Park as we usher in what we hope will be a triumphant new era of Formula One racing. For our drivers, though, it's very much business as usual, as they look to be first across that line and get their championship off to a winning start. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 16 corners and 3.3 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles an hour. The close proximity of the barriers makes accidents inevitable, and recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question. I'm joined again today by none other than Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, obviously there's a lot of development work that goes on with these cars between the races. You've been both a test driver and a race driver. What differences are there in the way you approach those roles?
Interesting question, Crofty. They're two very different mindsets. I mean, when I tested for BAR, we had full in-season testing where, per driver, you'd cover up to 15,000 kilometres per season. And in that role, it was more about working for the team, trying to help them improve the car and drive as systematically as you could, so that that data could be analysed in the most consistent way. When you're lining up on the grid for a race, however, your frame of mind's all about what you can get out of the situation on that day, and the car's the tool to help you achieve what you want. You still want to focus on setup, of course, but it's more about the here and now, getting yourself as far up the field as possible, and less about development work for the future.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Raikkonen, Max Verstappen and Ocon, a Haas, Grosjean, Massa and Daniel Ricciardo, Sainz, Alonso, Jolyon Palmer and Kvyat, Van Dorn, Stroll, Sergio Perez and Pascal Wehrlein. Hülkenberg and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
You're above where we expected on the grid. Be careful not to lose places, as there will be faster cars around you. rest of the grid is forming up, be patient and watch for the lights.
Brilliant stuff from Mercedes today. That's another historic win. So, Ant, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
Well, I think the track conditions just really suited their car today. Wind, track temperature, you name it. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature. So the more easily you can keep them there, the better your race tends to go. And that's exactly what happened. Their car just looks so comfortable out there.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the Drivers' Table. Lewis Hamilton takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after an excellent result. Moving on to the Driver of the Day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
Difficult call, Crofty, but I'd like to say Sergio Perez. He's just so gifted at getting the most out of his tyres, and he showed that here today.
And now let's take a look at the Constructors' standings. Mercedes move to the top of the table. After all that excitement, it's time for a lie down, I think. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye until the next race. Welcome to today's invitational event, where some of the world's finest drivers will be treating us to a special exhibition of some of the sport's most iconic cars.
Hi. Can I have a quick word? Listen, I don't think the car is hitting its performance targets right now. We really do have to find a lot of improvement. Take a look at the report and we'll talk about it later, okay?